Alright, so the first thing we do every season when we get the game is we go through our game analysis. So this is how we look at the game. So the first thing we look at is the points. Where are the points, what are the limits, and are there any unlimited point opportunities? So for example, for the teams who've been around a little bit, in the bowled over game, which was 3 years ago, lifting baskets was actually unlimited. There wasn't any height limit, which made it a really good goal to go after.
The next thing you want to look at is time during the game. You want to practice to develop a sense of how long different aspects of the game are going to take. So for example, double hanging, you need to practice and know how long it took your robot to double hang, so you know if you had enough time to complete it. Another thing you want to look at is low to no value points. So things like the floor goal and block party, compared to the pendulums, it took a similar amount of time, but you scored less points. So that was really inefficient. So you want to find parts of that in the game.
Other robots. How easy will defense be? Autonomous defense in block party was pretty difficult to do because the robots were fairly well separated, versus in Ring It Up, the rack was pretty easy to defend. All the robots were converging around that one point to score. And then how many robots does it take to accomplish a given task? For example, double hanging in block party, that took both your robots, so what was the other team going to do in that time? And then lifting and Ring It Up would also take both your robots, and teams could usually outscore you in rings if both of you went just to lift.
Okay, so we want to just work through with you guys and see what your thoughts on the block party season were. I guess looking at some of where the points are, some of the different tasks, and which ones you thought were the most important. So for example, one thing that we noticed was defense in autonomous is really hard because you were started on completely separate sides of the field and you never really got to each other until the center ramp. And we noticed that it was very hard to have an autonomous that both scored and played defense. You normally had to either completely devote a autonomous program to defense or completely to autonomous.
Another problem is compatibility between robots for double hanging. So when you look at the game, you realize that your robot needs to be adaptable so it can hang with another robot. And block area, if you look at the field, it's a very small area, so you want to make sure your robot can work in a crowded area.
Grab 4 blocks quickly. That way your trips are as efficient as possible. It's not going to be as worth it. So for us, if we scooped up and we noticed we had 3, we'd go with it. If we had 4, we'd go with it, obviously. But if we had 2, it would kind of depend on how the game was going. You want fast cycles because if you're going back and forth, then you're also getting a chance to play defense on the other robot if they come up to grab block.
We also tried to make our robot double hang compatible with any other robot that we found. And the way we did that was we made it so that even if you had an 18-inch cube just sitting in the middle of the ramp, we could still reach over and double hang.
I just wanted to ask, how many cycles could you go through going back and forth during the game?
Usually 6, 7 probably.
In like an actual. So we wanted our flag spinner to be fast, so we geared it up at a 4-to-1 ratio, so we could do the flag very quickly in a couple seconds. And that way it gave us plenty of time to do the flag and move over to double hang with our partner. And during that time, while it was spinning, our lifts moved into position to be ready to double hang.
So I guess key to their design was the decision that they were going to be able to handle the flag for the alliance and still double hang. That's the strategic kind of decisions you have to make at this point in the season. Once you have that goal, you can mechanically solve for it or programmatically solve for it.
Another thing we wanted to do in our design was be able to score blocks from pretty much anywhere. So our whole turntable assembly, we could dump from the bridge, or we just come straight on, or we could pull along the side and dump while we were going to go spin the flag or anything. That way, if some team did try and play defense, then we'd have a lot more area that we could move into to score blocks from. Your robot. What quality should a robot have? So let's look at a drivetrain. In last year's game, we wanted a fast drivetrain that could easily move over blocks. So you notice some teams got stuck on blocks and they get hung up, and then sometimes that would even disable them for the full match. Ring It Up, you wanted a more powerful drivetrain because of the limited scoring area. You wanted to be able to hold and take a position in front of the rack. And then in fold over, we wanted a more agile robot that was able to go on all areas of the field. There was the ramp, and speed was more important than power here because all the scoring opportunities were spread out. There were lots of balls and baskets scattered all around the field. And then versatile tools. On our robot, we strive to have a versatile flag spinner, lifting mechanism, and scoring mechanism. So our flag spinner could adjust because we noticed that the flag cranks could offer varying in height. So we wanted to make sure that we could adapt to any field we were playing on. And our lifting mechanism for hanging with other robots, we tried to give ourselves as much room as possible. That way we could fit with any other robot's design. And our scoring mechanism, we gave ourselves a wide range of motion. That way we didn't have to maneuver the drivetrain as much, and we could just move the arm.